Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. So today I'm excited to show you a build that I've kind of had in my mind here for a while and finally took the leap to go ahead and do. This is kind of like a weekend getaway cabin, and it is made out of a 40-foot shipping container. Um, Let me give you a tour of it, and stay tuned till the end of the video, and I'm going to answer some of the common construction questions that I've gotten regarding this build. So come on, let's check it out. All right, so this was a 40-foot shipping container that I had delivered, and then I set it in place with a dozer that I rented. It is sitting on piers on each end, kind of like a stem wall, but they are about 18 inches wide, and they go down about 2.5 feet. There is about 7 yards of concrete between these two piers. When I set these, I did some anchor plates. Okay, so these are plate steel with 4 rods in them with like a J hook on the bottom. And that way, after the container was set and squared up where I wanted, we welded it down. So now it is not a temporary structure, which would help with insurance, because sometimes insurance is not interested in a temporary structure. So on this, we attach the deck. We've got a ledger board that's running down the front there. And this is a 8-foot deck. Excuse me, this is a 10-foot deck that is 40 foot long. So you've actually got more living area or area to hang out on the outside of this deck or outside rather than you do on the inside. But that's kind of what makes this the weekend kind of getaway here. Got a couple of outlets here on the outside for plugging in, whether it's your cooking accessories or you are or hosting an event or hanging out up here. The view on this cabin, if it looks good in this camera footage, which it does, it looks twice as good in person. The cameras do not do justice of the views, and with just a little bit more tree trimming, you would have about 270 degrees of views, or of mountain view rather, out of this cabin. So I will go over some of the external features of the cabin as we come back out here. All of the lights on the porch, the rail light or string lights rather, those are all solar powered, and we have a remote inside the cabin to control those. And everything else is powered off of a Jackery 3600, which I will show you here shortly. So a set of full glass French doors here. Everything's finished out with tongue and groove pine. And you got a little kitchen area here. Okay, so the cabinet or the countertop, excuse me, here, I will pull over. This is just a drop-down design. So you've got a bar here where you can eat. You've got a beautiful view out there, or you've got an outlet here if you need to use this as an office setting. And then this will actually just drop down against the wall and give you a little bit more space. So, and then we've got a small fridge with a freezer on top and a range and oven. And this is a Dometic, so this is out of like an RV. So it's about that size, but it gives you a 3-burner stove and a small oven, so you can still cook. I got a double sink here, and a nice view of the mountains, or the woods rather, back there. And then a nice view of the mountains here above where your bar table would be able to flip out. So, and then here's the bathroom. Okay, we've got a pocket door here. All right. And then we've got a little closet here, basically just a place where you could stack some totes there, or be able to put some cleaning supplies, maybe a towel rack or whatnot. Got a 10-inch rainfall shower head there. And then toilet and vanity, and a little bit of storage there on the floor. I like the hang-in vanity for this because it allows some underneath storage. So you've got 2 big drawers on this that actually, provide quite a bit of storage. But then you've got some space underneath there for trash can, or if you want to do towels or whatever. So And then you've got a bathroom vent there is built into the back side of that. And then we'll turn you around here. And so this would be your bedroom area, okay? And then we've got a mini split there on the wall. The mini split is a 220 design, so it does not run off of the current sized solar system, but the temperature in here today is, it's probably 68 degrees inside this container. It's insulated with 2-inch closed cell spray foam, and really has done a pretty good job of maintaining the temperature in here. We got vinyl flooring here, and then tongue and groove pine throughout. So, and then you've got a little area where you could do like a love seat or something, a small sitting area there in front of the French doors if you desired, and go from there. So let me take you outside and show you what we've got going on. Enjoy that view there for a second. Okay, so down at this end of the container, what I did was I made this the utility closet. So we've got a small washer machine there, like out of an RV. So you've got a place where you could just rinse off or wash some clothes when you're staying up here for the weekend. This is a Jackery 3600. We've got 2 panels up on the roof that I'll show you in a moment. And then the way I do these is we've got a 50 amp inlet plug here, or 50 amp capable, going to the breaker box, the main breaker. And then if we want to run off of the generator, which is what would be required to run the mini split, you would flip this off and engage your generator interlock and turn on your generator. You got propane on demand hot water. Got a 2-stage particulate filter here, and then a 1 horsepower pump. And that pressurizes the system. We're sitting at about 40 PSI right now. And this is all just self-contained here on the end of the house. And so this is all closed cell spray foam. It is much denser than the open cell and waterproof feature, but then also the R factor is a lot higher. And we'll get into some of that here at the end when I'm answering some questions that I've been asked about this. So out here, again, it's a weekend deal, so you're going to limit your size to try to bring down the price on this. And so we've got a small propane tank here, 500-gallon rainwater catchment tank. We're getting about 240 gallons off of an inch of rain on this setup. The ladder is just here, so I can show you the solar panels here in a second. And then we've got our 50 amp inlet from the generator, where we can run the container off of the generator instead of the solar. So you could use that either to recharge your solar system in a time of cloudy weather. And then also you'd be able to run the mini split at the same time. So let's hop up here, and I'm going to show you what we did for the solar. So these are 2, I think these are 445 watt panels. And since this is a weekend setup, okay, we mounted these on top of the ridge here, so water is they're not sitting in a puddle, because you can have that problem with these containers where they're they're a flat surface, so water will tend to kind of pool up in this bottom before it runs out. So you do your mounts up on top of the ridge and help keep water away, less likely to leak. The reason, there's that view I was talking about. The reason I mounted the panels flat, I got a couple different reasons here. One, economically, way cheaper to just mount them flat. Panels have gotten so cheap, they're down to about 25 cents a watt, I think is what I'm getting them for. So it's easy to just add multiple panels. You could do panels down the whole top of that roof if that's what you wanted. And since you're only coming up for 2 or 3 days at a time, you can run off that battery power and a little bit of solar, and then that will replenish in the off time. All of this can certainly be sized up. You could add more panels. You could add another jackery. You could stack batteries. You have a multitude of options there. But this is how it's set up for kind of a weekend getaway. So everything you go to increase just adds to the cost. So final view there of the utility closet. And then we've done our traditional rainwater catchment system here, where we've got gutter coming across the front, one downspout or inlet down here, and then that's what's going into the 500-gallon tank. We've got a conventional septic system here where you've got your tanks, and then your lateral line is going out. And then we did the clean out on the rainwater, so that way if there's sediment or we're going to get a hard freeze, you can unscrew that cap, drain the water, and you don't have busted pipes. So, all right, now let's get into answering some of the questions. Okay, so one of the questions I've been asked is this a cheaper setup or more economical than just building a cabin outright? The quick answer on that would be no. You're going to run into about the same cost. The reason being is you've spent a lot more money on steel for welding in all of the door frames. You've spent money on fabrication of the door frames and window frames rather. And then you've got the closed cell spray foam is significantly more expensive than the open cell. And the reason that we had to go with closed cell is because you will have condensation on the inside of these boxes if you are not careful. And with open cell, you're susceptible to mold with that condensation. So we went with closed cell. All of the wood that it is framed up with on the inside is spaced away from the metal exterior. So what that means is the moisture is not being carried through and making contact with that wood as these containers sweat. So that is one of the things that you run into with a shipping container build. If you don't vent them, which is why we have a bathroom vent, and that's why we do not have propane wall heater, because of the condensation that's going to get added to the environment, you try to reduce as much of that as you can. So venting and no propane or limited propane. We've got propane for the stove, for the oven. So the 2x4s that the ceiling is framed with, they're framed on 24-inch centers because nothing in here is structural, right? So instead of just going with the traditional 16-inch, we stretched it out to 24. And the 2x4s in the rafters, or that make up the rafters inside to be able to attach the tongue and groove to, they are dropped down using joist hangers that were oversized. So I don't recall if they are, I think they're a 2x8 joist hanger, and that way it allowed 2 inches of clearance from the ceiling. And then we cut the boards a little short so they're not buttoned all the way out to the channel on either end of the container. So we ran those first. We just ran them in with self tappers. So they're a joist hanger that's shaped like a U. You got your self tappers holding it in, and then it's got a little bit of a saddle. So that's what we set our 2x4 in, and that spaced it away from the metal. Okay. And then when we did the walls, we also came off the wall about 1.5 inches, I think is the tightest area. And we ran them where we tied them into the rafters, and then we had a nailer on the floor. Right. So when you've done that, now you've spaced all the wood away from the metal, and we're not carrying through the condensation. And then we had them come in. We ran our plumbing, we ran our electrical, and then we had them come in and do the spray foam, the closed cell spray foam. And that way it encompassed the plumbing. So it helped insulate the plumbing lines, but then also it created that barrier between the wood and the metal. And then we covered the inside with tongue and groove, just like we would any other time. Really no other abnormalities there. Cutting in the window frames, or we cut all those in with a plasma cutter. I've seen people use grinders. We had so much to do that it justified the cost of the plasma cutter. So plasma cut in all the doors and windows. And then what I did, I could not find a T-shaped metal that was economical. So what I did was I bought 2-inch flat strap. I believe I bought 2-inch and 4-inch. I took the 4-inch and I laid it down, and then we found center and we welded in our 2-inch flat strap in the middle to make a T similar to that. And what that allowed was when you have your cutout for your window or your door, I'll go into the door here in a minute, but when you have your cutout for the window, you're going to make your frame that's going to fit that window and then fit that into your cutout. And that gives you a spot where you can go around and weld it. And I'll show you that here in a minute. You can go around and weld that on the inside, and then we had them spray foam, so that helps seal things off the rest of the way. And then we slid our windows in and fastened them with kind of a clamping feature with some more flat strap metal, which I will show you here in a second. On the doors, what I do is a 4-inch red iron C-channel. We welded those in floor to ceiling, and that gave us our sides for the door. And then we welded in a header that was made out of angle iron, and that way it acts as a drip edge on the outside and helps divert water if there was any to come in from the outside, which the way this porch is sealed off, that's not really a thing. So that's how we did. I will show you these joist hangers because we have some on the outside here that we use for the porch. Joist, the ceiling joist in the porch, or the rafters rather. And on the top of the porch, which I will show you, we placed a pressure treated 2x6 and we silicone the bottom of it. Okay, and then we kind of sandwich that down. That helps seal off that roof where the roof isn't trying to leak water this way. It shoves it all to the backside. So let me show you a couple of those things now. All right, so here's what we're at with the window frame, okay? So you can see here where we've stitched this 2-inch into the 4-inch flat strap, all right? And then that is welded in from the inside. And then we just run caulk on this outside here. And then this is sandwiched in with another piece of flat strap. So the windows are replaceable this way. If something were to happen, you can just remove these self-tappers, remove the flat strap, and pull the window out and replace it. Up here are the joist hangers, very similar to how we did the inside, okay? And so the way that those are, they are just self-tap screwed into that channel, and then we dropped our rafters into that. And then you can see the pressure treated board up there, and that is sealed off. So, and then one last thing here is we did angle iron header above the French door, okay? And then you can't hardly see it, but we've got, this is the red iron C-channel that is welded in floor to ceiling here. And then the door is secured to that C-channel. So hopefully that answers some questions on regarding the construction of the container and how exactly you would put in doors and windows and cut them in. You know, you have to have something to be able to straighten this up. Otherwise, you've got all of the ridges to contend with. So you've got to have a flat surface, and that is how I do it. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that tour as much as I enjoyed the build and getting to share it with y'all. If you would, please leave a like, comment, subscribe would be great. So that way you're kept up to date on future builds that we've got going and projects. And if you've got any questions or you like this build, please let us know down below. I am looking forward to sharing more of these with you all. Very blessed and grateful for the opportunity that I've been given to pursue my passion of doing off-grid living and helping others succeed in that too. So we'll catch y'all in the next one. Mountain Wizard out. See ya.